Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYARAFINA AIMI binti BAHARI and I will be explain about the introductions. I will followed by Adam to explain about the findings and review and summary by Mumtaz. So we will start with Islamic perspective. So Islam is a religion that values education and knowledge. In Islam, science and technology are important tools for understanding the world and are guided by religious principles. Islam encourages the pursuit of science and technology for the benefits of society and promote religious tolerance. So Islam also has a rich cultural and historical heritage with a focus on social justice, moderations, and bleeding spiritual and worldly pursuits. As Islam spread around the world, it becomes a diverse and multicultural community of believers, creating a new civilizations by combining the best elements of various traditions. The unique of combination religious and cultural influences in Islam is what sets it apart as civilizations. It is known for its synthesis of different ideas and its ability to inspire its followers to create a new and unique civilization. So moving on to the next part of introduction, material worlds and main role in society. So what is material world? Materialism is a way of thinking and prioritize material positions and physical experience over spiritual and ethical considerations. It is often associated with atheism and its prevalence in modern society. As Muslims, we must be aware of its influence and prioritize our spiritual values and goals. Islam teaches us that the true purpose of life is to know and serve Allah, to live a balanced life that considers both the material and spiritual aspects of existence. We must use our material possessions and achievement in line with Islamic values and ethics, and remember the true success and fulfillment can only be found in the afterlife by obeying Allah. So Islam believes that humans have a special roles as God visitors on earth. This means that they are responsible for taking care of the earth according to the God's instruction. Humans are considered the most valuable and important of all God's creations. The Quran says that God created humans in the best way possible and gave them the rights and responsibility, such as the right to make choice and the duty to act justly and kindly toward others. The Quran also says that humans are superior to other celestial beings and are given the special rules of being God vigorous. This means that they have been given gifts such as intelligence and freedom to fulfill this role. However, they also have the freedom to use the gift in positive or negative ways. To fulfill this role as vigorous, humans use their gift to help others and not to cause harm.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So for the next part, I will explain the part of findings that we have collected from this project. The doctrine of materialism affects every human being's life. Everything is a physical and material estimation. As Muslims, we were likewise affected by this thought unwittingly in our educational system visionarily, because knowledge and intelligence are measured by grades and certificates. Job applicants will be evaluated based on their educational accomplishment. We Muslims must constantly remind ourselves to maintain our objectives of living a Muslim life in this world. And Muslims can escape from the system, but we can redefine it. So, saying the words of Shahada, praying 5 times a day, paying the zakat, performing the Saum, and finally making the Hajj are the 5 pillars of Islam. Although each of these pillars has its own component that is somewhat related to the requirements of material work, they are carried out in accordance with the guidelines and commands of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. which is ultimately ideal for understanding the Islamic perspective on the material world. The five pillars of Islam is philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and state of mind are explaining these topics in detail from the perspective of the material world, which has an impact on a wide range of topics including philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and state of mind. And in this study, we focus on two of Islam's pillars, which is performing 5 times a day prayer and paying the zakat in order to broaden the discussion. Firstly, it is known that performing 5 times prayer a day is mandatory in Islam, and those who disobey it will be punished by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. It is the first deed that will be held accountable to them in the afterlife. And the materialism belief that in carrying out any ritual to prove our belief should be in the form of physical, which is specifically defined as sensible. Additionally, the act of prayer itself is fitted well in the materialism belief, as the movement and deed in the prayer itself is sensible with the addition of the saying in the prayer itself. Furthermore, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has established a social structure through zakat that prevents wealth from being concentrated in a single group. All things being equal, which is a framework, is made where abundance flows from the rich individuals who give the particular percent of 2.5 of their abundance to the destitute individuals of the general public. And this shows that Islam applies the needs of material world by making the distribution of the wealth itself fair and amanah. Accordingly, by these two pillars, it has established that Islam practically using the needs of material world perspective towards the implementation of Islamic perspective. And as a result, Muslims are reminded not to become overly preoccupied with the material world and acquiring wealth for their daily sustenance. The value and ethics of human life are actually destroyed by materialism exclusion of spiritual and intellectual pursuits, which will gradually affect human behavior. We are not materialists who obsess over material position and wealth. Rather, we should use our wealth in accordance with fisabilillah, such as paying zakat and sadaqah, which is charity. And as Muslims, we are required to maintain a balance between dunya and akhirah in all aspects of our lives. For the next part in the findings is men's role in society based on Islamic perspective. As you all know, Islam is a flawless and extremely organized religion since its teachings are the guidelines established by Allah SWT for His followers. Human existence as one of God's creation on this earth has an important role in carrying out his function as caliph on the earth, whether they pertain to creed or to mu'amalat, or transaction or dealings and sharia. The first role of the man in society is to enjoin goods and forbid wrong, or known as Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar. Generally, the purpose of Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar is to encourage, guide, and call people to refrain from engaging in weak deeds or religiously forbidding behavior. Additionally, the implementation of the practice might prevent issues in social relationships, including hostility and rivalry among communities in society. And Allah SWT has created a large number of people in the world for a reason and a goal, namely to serve as a man who aids one another in remembering and adhering to Allah SWT laws and prohibition. As has been said in the Quran, and let there be arising from you a nation inviting to all that is good, enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong, and those who will be the successful. The next role of the man in society is to support the justice in the right way. For instance, the man upholds justice when it comes to the laws that have been implemented in accordance with Al-Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in a way that is fair and just to himself and his family and society. As has been said in Surah An-Nisa verse 425, "O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourself or parents and relatives, whether one is rich or poor, Allah is more worthy of both. So follow not personal inclination, lest you not be just. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed Allah is ever with what you do acquainted. Last but not least, Allah created man on this earth for a reason and a mission as a caliph, not for no reason at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 30 and mentioned, O Muhammad, when your Lord said to the angels, indeed, I will make upon the earth a successive authority. They said, will you place upon it one who causes corruption therein and sheds blood, while we declare you praise and sanctify you? Allah said, indeed, I know that which you do not know.
And now, let us see the review of Islamic perspective of the material world and a man's role in society. So Islamic perspective recognizes value and importance of physical world, but also emphasizes spiritual dimensions of life and the ultimate goal of seeking closeness to God or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Material world was created by God, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a means of testing and guiding human beings towards righteousness and obedience to his commands. So we understand that this dunya, this world, is only a test for all of us Muslims, so that we can understand which one is the haq and which one is the batil. We can understand which one is the good, which one is the bad one. Muslims have a role of stewardship and responsibility in the society. Muslims are called to live in accordance with teachings of the Quran, an example of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and work towards betterment of communities through acts of compassion, charity, and service. So, by understanding this review, we must understand that we as Muslims also have a role towards our community, the roles towards our brother in Islam, and the roles of being a great Muslim in the future. These are some of the supporting verses of this project. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 30, we can see that in the dalil here, which is the meaning is, and mention, O Muhammad, when your Lord said to the angels, indeed I will make upon the earth a successive authority. They said, will you place upon it one who caused corruption therein and sheds blood? While we exalt you with praise and declare your perfection, he also said, indeed, I know that which you do not know. And as you can see with the ayat above me, it is translated in Al-A'raf, ayat 172. And when your Lord brought forth from the children of Adam, from their loins, their descendants, and made them testify as to themselves, saying to them, am I not your Lord? They said, yes, we have testified this, lest you should say on the day of resurrection, indeed, we were of this unaware. And now let me tell you about the summary of the introduction, findings, and review of this project. So, to summarize, Islam is a religion, culture, and civilization that emphasize education and the pursuit of knowledge, including science and technology. This is guided by divine law, which shapes Muslim identity and guides the use of science and technology for the common good and religious tolerance. Islamic civilization is characterized by its synthesis of ideas and the inspiration of Muslim mind by Islam's religion. And here are the following summaries that I would like to explain just a little bit and not very much, because we can understand that in here, the most important part of the summary is that we can understand the meaning of materialism, we can understand the meaning of spiritual aspect of existence, and we can understand that Muslims should prioritize how their spirits are better than material positions. We can also summarize that the Quran is teaching us that the purpose of life of every creation has a specific goal, which is ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is also in summarize that the 5 pillars of Islam, the Shahada, prayers, zakat, Saum, and Hajj, can help Muslims us understanding the Islamic perspective for a better future. Maybe that's all from us from the UNGS group of Basic Philosophy and Islamic Worldview. Thank you everyone. Thank you Professor for your understanding and attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.